Good morning. Okay, so fear of failure and fear of success and being stuck in between both of those. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So that's something that came up for me. Most people are very aware that they have a fear of failure. Most of us have. But few of us are aware that we actually mainly have a fear of success, and it's actually hiding behind a fear of failure. And that was something that I realized where I knew I had this fear of failure, but then I started looking at some of the different things that show up with um, fear of success. And I was like, oh shit, I feel that way. I feel that way. And then I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? I'm afraid to fail and I'm also afraid of succeeding. And that can keep us stuck. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, and I'm going to give you exactly like what are some of the signs of both fear and failure and fear of success so you can be aware. And I am going to also, at the end of that, give you a little bit of like 2, 3 things you can start doing to open things up and clear things up. Ilsa here. I'm the founder of the Sovereign Entrepreneur Academy, where we marry strategy and energy to help conscious entrepreneurs and change makers to essentially become powerful vision casters in their business and create businesses that are completely aligned with them and their own unique energy so they can fill their programs and their offers and get booked out without burnout and with a lot of ease and joy and alignment. So when we're talking about obviously fear of failure and success, it's important for you to have the signs and symptoms because awareness is half the journey. You can't unwind a pattern. You can't know where to focus your energy and where to focus your inner work if you don't actually know what it is that you're looking for and what it is that you need to pay attention to. And a lot of these patterns, like all patterns, are unconscious. So we don't actually know that they're operating in the background, which is why I think it's really important to have very clear symptoms to look forward to or to pay attention to so you know what you need to focus on. At the end of this live, I'm also going to bring you an invitation to join the Sovereign Entrepreneur Academy in January. And I'll be opening 5 spaces for that. And it's for conscious entrepreneurs, transformational coaches, healers, and practitioners. So, and it's for those of you who really want to quantum leap in your business in 2022 and grow with a lot of ease, a lot of alignment, a lot of joy by mixing those step-by-step organic strategies as well as the energetic work. And the price will be going up in January. So this is an invitation essentially to join us. It's a small, intimate group to join us at the price of 2021. Okay, so let's talk about symptoms and signs of afraid of failure. And by the way, most of you are going to recognize that because it's pretty common. But when we are struggling with being afraid to fail, we're afraid that we will be embarrassed. We're afraid that no one's going to want what we have. We are afraid that if we fail, we will have wasted our talents and our gifts. And similarly to that, we're afraid that if we fail, we will not have accomplished what we came on this planet to do, our sacred work, our purpose, our passion. And essentially, we are afraid that we won't be able to have the impact that we were born to have, designed to have. Another thing that shows up with when we're afraid to fail, we're afraid that we'll be disappointing or letting down not only ourselves, but our families, the people we're working with, the people who are working for us. So all of those fears show up in the fear of failure. And then the last one I'll say, and this is something that was very true for me, is when we're starting a new project and fear of failure comes up, we're afraid that we will have wasted all this time, all this energy, all this money for nothing. And all of those are resources that we will have wasted that we could have put towards our family or towards something else. So the fear of failure essentially puts a lot of doubt in place as to whether we even want to continue. Well, as to whether we want to start when we're in the beginning and we start seeing that we need to invest our time, our energy. But then it shows up a lot when we have started and we're not seeing results quite as quickly as we would have liked to. Um, the thing I will say to you about the fear of failure is that it's something everyone experiences. If you are essentially starting a new project or growing a business that matters to you, where there's no actual guarantees, it's absolutely normal and expected to be afraid to fail because it has your heart and because we are putting a lot into it. And I think this is especially true for those of us who are coaches, who are healers, who are practitioners, because, or spiritual teachers, because we're not just selling a product out there. We're literally selling our soul in a little bit. We're selling our gifts. We're selling what we came into this world to do. And so the sense of potentially being rejected or people not seeing us or staying invisible or not wanting what we have feels extremely personal, much more so than if we're just selling a product. So fear of failure is totally normal, and these are the signs, or this is what it looks like. Fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of wasting our lives, fear of wasting our gifts, fear of putting all this time, energy, and money into something and it not working out when we could have been putting that time, energy into our families or into something else. So now let's talk about fear of success. And this one is a lot more subtle and a lot more tricky. And it can show up in a number of ways. And by the way, I've had a lot of those, but here are a few of them for you to pay attention to and notice in your own life. And as I'm reading them, because the reason I say this is all of us have a fear of failure. That's just normal. But not all of us realize that we have a fear of success. And that was a real awakening for me to realize, like, I'm working on all my fears of failure, fears of being seen, fear of being rejected, fear of being embarrassed, fear of people not wanting what I have. Like, I'm working on all of those, and still things were not quite moving. And I didn't know what was going on. And then I started looking at fear of success and realized I had all of those in the background moving. And so it didn't matter how much I worked on my fear of failure, I wasn't going to succeed because something in me was afraid that success would ruin my life, essentially. So when we have that kind of resistance, then it's almost impossible. Our energy is off. So even if we're doing everything right, we're actually not getting the results we want. I see a few people on. Say hi to me, by the way. I love to see who's on. And let me know, like, if you see you have some of these patterns, let me know that you have them. Okay, so let me give you some of the ways that fear of success shows up. You're afraid that if you succeed, you will alienate family or friends who will be jealous, who will judge you, or will feel left behind. So, or maybe ask you for money, depending on your background, that can be a big one. So that's one thing that will essentially build resistance against success. Another one is you're afraid that if you're successful, you'll be giving up too much of your time, that you'll lose your freedom, that you'll lose your free time, that you'll be busy all the time. I had that one. I really value spaciousness. I really value ease, effortlessness, having tons of time for creative endeavors, for time alone. And there was definitely a story in the background that if my business took off, if I had all these clients, then I would be busy all the time and I would lose my freedom. Another one that shows up when we're afraid of succeeding is we're afraid that we won't be able to sustain it and we'll be embarrassed. And I have that one. I have that one to this day. This idea that if we have a breakthrough and it looks like, hey, Stacia, if we have a breakthrough and it looks like we're making it, then we have to sustain that. We have to keep bringing in clients. We have to keep creating. We have to keep growing that momentum. And that can feel heavy. That can feel like pressure to something in us that wants to be aligned with ease, with effortlessness. This idea that like, oh man, if I break through and start succeeding, then I have to keep succeeding because now my lifestyle is going to be aligned to it, and I need to show something to the world and be able to keep doing it. So that's another one that comes up. Another one that comes up, and again, I have that one too, is we're afraid that if we succeed, yes, it's super subtle. Stacia says fear of success is super subtle and tricky. I agree. We have this fear that if we succeed and we end up with a lot of clients, all of our clients are going to want a piece of us. They're going to expect us to be there for them, to fix their issues all the time, and that we are going to be drained and overwhelmed. This is super common for those of you who are sensitive and who are overgivers and kind of want to serve at this. You have a huge heart. You want to serve. You want to make sure that if a client says yes to you, you're going to put yourself on the line to get them the results they want. You're over givers a lot of the time, and that's so me. And so what happens with that one is there's something in us that knows that we don't have clear boundaries and that our client's result is so important to us that if we start to succeed, we will be totally overwhelmed and drained by needing to serve all our clients. I don't have that one, but I've known people who have that one. The next one that I have is we're afraid that if we succeed, we'll lose ourselves. We'll become someone we don't like. I think a lot of that shows up with people who have unhealthy money beliefs. So if you believe that, money is the root of all evil, that rich people are selfish and self-centered, oftentimes success does come, hopefully, with bringing in some more money. So if you don't trust yourself and you don't trust money and you bring these two together, then I've met people who have a fear that if they gain money, they gain power, they're not going to like who they become and that they're going to lose themselves and their soul. And I will say this, as somebody who's deeply spiritual, I worked with that more around money. Like, is it okay to charge for our gifts? And are we becoming greedy or not spiritual if we're charging for our gifts? This is another subtle way of that, where we're actually afraid of success. Another one that shows up with the fear of success is you're afraid that you won't be able to deliver results, especially on a grand scale. So it's one thing to deliver results when you're working with a handful of people and you can give them a lot of energy, but can we get results in a group, or can we get results with like a lot of clients? And is our process good enough to get results at that scale? I'm going to be real vulnerable here. I've been working one-on-one with people for 20 years. And a couple months ago, I started my group program. And that was something that was really there for me. Am I going to be able to get my clients results without working with them one-on-one? Are they going to get results in a group? And I did a post on that yesterday. We've essentially been working for 5 or 6 weeks at this point, and all my clients have gotten results. Some of them have gotten a lot more results than they would have gotten with me one-on-one, including I've got a couple people in there who had been working with me one-on-one for a few months and had been stuck and not getting results. And within a month of being in the group container, have gotten 3, 4, like they've literally gotten more clients in a month than they have gotten in the 3 or 4 months prior to that. So there is, that was one way for me to get past that. But that's a really common one, this idea that What if I can't get my clients results? If I succeed, if I get too big, if it's more clients than the amount that I'm working with. And that will stop us from scaling and from actually opening our doors, opening our hearts to welcoming and enrolling more clients. And then the last one, which I definitely have, I have to this day, is we struggle and we have guilt around charging generously and earning abundantly for our gifts and for our work. And that is a subtle form of being afraid to succeed. This idea that we are getting clients, but we're not making any money. So we create a setup where literally success is not sustainable, because at some point we're going to need to hire help. We are going to need to do different things, but we're not going to have the money to do it. Or the balance, it's going to be out of balance and we're going to be resentful and drained. So what I'm inviting you to do is to look at all of these and decide, like, which one do you actually have on there, and start like being aware. Awareness is half the journey. When you're aware, like, oh shit, I've got that, I think that way, oh, that kind of like woke up something in me when she said that, then you know what you want to start working with and pay attention to. So now let me give you a couple common ways to work with these fears so that we can get past them and we can kind of move through and start releasing ourselves and creating the success, the impact, the income that we want in the world. So a common way to work with both the fear of failure and the fear of success, once you've become aware of what that looks like for you, is to soothe your nervous system. Fears essentially is something within you that's constricting, something within you that doesn't feel worthy, able, and just feels overwhelmed. So a really easy way, and that shows up in the body, guys. Like, yes, it's a thought, yes, it's a feeling, but all of those thoughts, all of those feelings, they actually show up in the body. One of the fastest way to release that is to actually start the other way around. Like like you'll see a lot of things around like affirmation and trying to change your beliefs. I actually think one of the fastest ways to go the opposite direction and to actually start feeling safe and okay in your body, which is where the nervous system comes in. When you feel safe and okay in your body and your body is relaxed, then you can start feeling a different feeling and have a different belief or thoughts. So grounding, breathing, getting out of your head into your heart, letting the part of you who is afraid know that you're okay right now, that you're safe right now, that no matter what, you're going to be okay and figure it out. And essentially tapping into that space of infinite possibility and your innate intelligence to fix and grow and become creative with solutions. When you soothe your nervous system, you create space. You create space for flow, for creativity, for inspired action to arise. So that's number one, is learn and create a practice that literally creates safety and groundedness and centeredness in your body, which will then percolate to your mind, your feelings, your beliefs. Number two, another practice that I use a lot and I teach a lot in my program is to become intimately familiar with your sovereign self, with the part of you that is always already whole, worthy, courageous, certain, confident. When you get an energetic sense of that part of you, and you can actually, almost like it's like you're sitting holding on one side the part of you who is wounded, who's afraid of losing, of looking bad, afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of being rejected, afraid of losing his or her freedom, afraid of not being able to deliver result, like whatever your particular flavor of being afraid of failure or success is, and you sit with the other side of that, with the part of you who is innately wise, innately whole, innately confident, and has no doubt. This part of you knows that they are worthy, that they have access to all the wisdom necessary to succeed, and that success is already theirs. This part of you, this sovereign self, is literally limitless. It's steeped in infinite possibility. What you're doing is you're sitting with both of these, and you know that both of these have valid realities. And there's like an alchemy that happens when you're able to sit with both of these. And at first, you might literally need to shift back and forth. Like at one moment, you're feeling, what does it feel like to be my sovereign self? What does it feel like to be my wounded self? What does it feel like to be my sovereign self, my wounded self? And at some point, it's like this gap starts to collapse, and it's almost like the wisdom that is in your sovereignty start to translate to the part of you that is afraid. And the part of you that is afraid knows that it doesn't have to do a thing. Because this is the thing about our fears. It's always something within us that feels small, that feels like it's going to have to do all these things. But it can't. It's too small to do all these things. When we allow our woundedness to sit with our sovereignty, this part of us that feels wounded, feels afraid, starts to essentially realize that it's not up to it, that it doesn't have to do anything, that it doesn't have to deliver result, that something else bigger, this sovereignty, is actually going to take care of all of it. And something like this starts to happen where literally the woundedness becomes integrated into us, and whatever energy we're all caught up in, that knot of woundedness, becomes actually available for our sovereignty to start taking the work out there, to start showing up powerfully, to start being in flow, in alignment, and have all the creative ideas we need to succeed. So that's number two, and it's an extremely powerful thing, because essentially the block that was here becomes the fuel for success when that happens. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you is you want to remind yourself that fear only comes when you're doing something important, when you're doing something that matters, when you're doing something that has your heart, that has your soul, that is literally your destiny. It matters. And that's where fear comes in. So you want to start changing your perspective of fear. Fear doesn't mean that there's something wrong. Fear literally means that there's something right, that you're in the right direction, that you are living your destiny, that you are engaging on the journey that you were born for. Thank you. Yeah, Stacia says that's powerful. So when you are feeling the fear, keep bringing back to your mind the importance of your dream, the impact, the value, what you moving forward is going to create for yourself, for your family, for your clients, for the world. And essentially know that desire, I know desire can have like a bad rep, but desire essentially is a really great balancing to fear. Desire is not just ours, it's life's desire of what life wants to create and manifest in the world through us and through our unique gifts and our unique energy. And so balance your fear with the desire, with the importance, with how much what you want to provide matters for your clients and for yourself, because movements arise when our desire to serve, our desire to succeed is actually bigger and more important than our desire to stay safe and to stay small. So when you feel afraid, what you want to do in that moment is you want to really start touching into the end result. What is it that you're actually doing this for? Why is it important? And what's going to happen is your fear is going to stay the same, but your desire to serve, your desire to impact, your desire for abundance and for creating a legacy and for showing up and being the kind of mom or dad or woman or man leader that you're fucking proud of, that's going to grow. So your desire for showing up is going to grow, while your desire to stay safe and small will stay the same. When this is your staying small or safe, and this is your desire for moving forward, then suddenly you have the capacity to start moving despite the fear, through the fear. It doesn't mean that the fear disappears. It just means that suddenly the fear starts meaning something different, and it doesn't actually block us. It becomes something that, again, is our fuel. So that's what I have for you today. I stated earlier in this live, I'm going to make an invitation to you. So as I mentioned, I opened this group, the Solvent Entrepreneur Academy, about 6-7 weeks ago, and I'm going to open another 5 spaces for, again, transformational coaches, conscious entrepreneurs, healers, practitioners, people who are really here to make a difference in the world and want that support of like-minded people. So this is a small, intimate group. It's maxed out at 20. There's 10 of us right now. So I'm opening 5 more spaces. So we'll be 15 of us. And this is for you if you want 2022 to be a breakthrough year for you in your business. If you're ready to quantum leap, if you're ready to have both the step-by-step organic marketing, as well as all the energetic work that's going to help you to actually show up powerfully during these step-by-step strategies, because strategies without energy does not work. So if you're interested in finding out what that looks like, then you can just put details in the comments. You can message me and put SEA, Sovereign Entrepreneur Academy, SEA details, and I'll send you the link. Or you and I can get on a call. The price is going up in 2022. So this is essentially almost still founding members price. And it's a huge amount of support, a huge amount of value at a really affordable price. In 22, it will go up. So if you want to have that breakthrough for the 2021 price, then just connect with me or put details and I'll send you all that information, and you can decide whether or not it's a good fit for you. And feel free to ask me any questions. Obviously, I'm approachable. I'm here. I'm always happy to chat with other conscious entrepreneurs. I hope this was helpful for you in figuring out exactly what fear of failure and fear of success looks like, and what are some ways to start moving through them and past them and actually use them as fuel rather than as blocks. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you either later this week or next week. Thank you, Stacia. Bye, guys.